Hello everyone, Josh here with Texas, bringing guys and gals some more cat fantasy. And today, as I promised yesterday, we are going to make our rant video talking about a few of the different various red flags in the game, how it's really become an issue for the revenue. Did global flop, yes or no? We're going to talk about some of the numbers that have kind of come across here through various sources, and we're going to of course talk about the major issue right now that global players are facing, and that is the banner spam. And that's going to be really the main topic when we get into it, but there are a few other things I want to discuss first. So if you are not here for any kind of negative feedback, critique, or anything like that of this game, because you think this game is the best thing since sliced bread, there's nothing wrong with it, it cannot be critiqued, it cannot be having any kind of negative thoughts or opinions, because this game is absolutely perfect in every way possible, which it isn't. But if you feel that way, I understand. You don't have to stay here and watch this video. Tune out right now. That's my recommendation. However, if you are here to get my perspective, to get my point of view when it comes to this game, playing this game for over a year now between various betas, early accesses, and of course now global, definitely stick around, stay tuned, because we have a lot to get into, because there are a few things that have kind of flew under the radar that a lot of people have not really talked about, but we're going to talk about those things today, and how it impacts players that are coming into global for the first time, especially if you're a free-to-play or casual spender, and how that can become a major issue long-term for this game's longevity and success and potential for it to go end of service. And obviously that's not what we want here. So I'm going to try and go through a few different things and kind of get my point across. I'm not going to be screaming and F this and F that. I did that once upon a time. It was a lot of fun, especially against Konami, because screw Konami. But anyways, that's a different story for a different day. We're going to try and do a little bit better today with our rant to try and get our point across to not only just the player base, but the actual community reps that can relay this information to the developers, and hopefully we get some positive change. Hopefully this video is a positive impact out of negative opinions and critiques, if that makes any sense. Turn a negative into a positive if we can. We'll have to see, but definitely stay tuned. Let's get into it. So the first thing that kind of flies under the radar, right, is the perk system. All right, and I believe the perk system is under benefits. Where is it? There it is. Inspector's perks. Now this is only 3 USD a month. All right, it's not terrible, right? It gives you some decent things, but there's a couple things in here that really are a pet peeve of mine and have really ticked off a lot of players. For one, combat speed ×3. Why is a quality life behind a paywall? Okay, and then you also can go ahead and throw auto fishing into that category as well. 5 nets daily, that's whatever, I don't really care about that. But the auto fishing and the combat speed ×3 being behind a paywall is absolutely terrible. It is not good for the game long term. It's just not good at all. You should never be putting quality of life updates and changes that help make the game overall better, a better experience for all players. Those should not be behind a paywall. That's ridiculous. Okay, and the combat speed ×3, if you've ever played this game and you're trying to climb the towers and you see how many tower floors there are and you're doing it over and over and over, some of those stages, especially with like the machine stages, some of those stages with the rabbits, their animations are so slow. And even at 2x speed, it feels like it just drags on and on and on. And now ×3 speed isn't going to be much of an improvement, but it will save you some time and feel a little bit more smoother. Because ×2 speed is not even true ×2 speed. I'm not even so sure ×3 is, ×2 speed. I feel like they're barely any, there's marginal increases in the speed between each one. And I don't know why they did it that way, because we don't want to sit there and have to suffer through very sluggish gameplay, especially when it's content that we should be able to just kind of wipe the floor with, because we've built our teams to get very strong, to be able to go in and auto and use the AI and clear some of these content, so we don't got to sit there and waste so much time doing it manually or waiting for the battle to conclude. So just putting any kind of quality of life for a speed increase, even if it's not the greatest, behind a paywall is a problem. And then auto fishing. I'm sorry to say this to you, Fundal or Elex or whoever I'm speaking to here on the global side. Not having auto fishing for free to plays, you might as well just consider that game mode dead to us. Because the issue is I have like 3,500, maybe 4,000 fish bait that I can go and use right now or whatever, the fishing attempts. I'm not going to sit there and manually fish 3,000 to 4,000 times. I'm sorry. My time is more precious than that. I have more things I need to do, more things I need to cover, more content, more games to play, other things in my life that are going to be much more beneficial than sitting there and manually fishing over and over. If I wanted to do manual fishing, I would take my sweet ass outside, go down to the creek, go down to a lake, go down to a river, any body of water, a freaking swimming pool, throw some fake fish in there with a plastic toy hook, and I will fish. Okay, I will do real life fishing if I'm going to fish manually in any type of game, especially this one. So if I'm going to manually fish, it's going to be in real life, not in game. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So you've pretty much killed off an entire game mode to a large portion of your entire player base by putting auto fishing behind a paywall. It used to not be behind a paywall all the way back at PTR, and then you guys changed it, and we complained back then, and I'm complaining still today, and a lot of players are in agreement with that because it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. That's why we go through the nets with tips over and over and over again, because we don't want to sit there and manually fish. And if you are a whale or a casual spender and you think fishing on auto is bad, try to fish manually. It is the worst aspect of this entire game. It is boring beyond belief. You might have more enjoyment watching paint dry. Yes, paint dry might be more entertaining than fishing manually in Cat Fantasy. So I just kind of want to throw that out there with the whole perk system. That's a big red flag. That's going to irritate a lot of players, and that is just not cool in my personal opinion. So, moving on. And by the way, before we get too much further, I did spend money in PTR. So I have played this game through a spender's perspective and as a free-to-play perspective, just trying to give you guys and gals a little context there. Red flag number 2. And this might be an even bigger one. Paywalled heroes. That's kind of a taboo here nowadays in gachas. And what I mean by that is we got units like this. This get your SSR combatant with your first top-up pack. Green Echo. So, Green Echo, is she really good? Yes, she's probably top 5 DPS right now in global. Right? Even though she's getting power crept in 2 weeks' time because of Scarlet, which is kind of hilarious and sad at the same time, because now you're throwing a pack in whales' faces and casual spenders' faces saying, hey, go get Green Echo, go, 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 go. And then you're power creeping her in literally 2 weeks. The first month of global, you're power creeping one of your main pack sellers in the game. What? What? She shouldn't even be behind a paywall, first off, and even if she was, she should also be able to be summoned in a general pool as well. This should be more or less if whales want to get her quickly now with lower RNG, or with no RNG at all, rather. And they can just have her where they want her now. And then you can go and still try and pull and re-roll for her in the general banner. They don't have that option. It's buy her, and then after you buy her, you're on a time-gated thing where it's like you got a limited amount of time to buy another copy, and another copy, and another copy. And if you don't, well, you're screwed. You can be stuck there as a 0-star on your bench, which then becomes a scam, because you're not even really informing your players about all these details when you initially buy the pack. So they're buying the pack, thinking, oh, I got a 0-star SSR or Echo. You know, maybe sometime down the road I'll buy the other copies. Nope, you got to buy them immediately because you're on a time limit. Or you miss out, and then you're screwed. So your investment goes to waste pretty quickly on, and then, again, already getting power crept in the first month of global by a unit that should not be here for several months is insanity. But that is what we're doing here right now in Cat Fantasy. It's absolutely crazy. So that's taboo. That's a taboo. Paywalled units in a gacha. That's pretty much a taboo these days. But that's not the only taboo. We have another taboo. Another taboo. Let's go to shop. Outfits. Outfits are a big hit in a lot of games. Gacha, RPGs, just random mini game, even console games. Just cosmetics are a big thing. I mean, Fortnite's entire monetization method is built around awesome cosmetics. But you know what? Their cosmetics don't give you any kind of advantage in gameplay. They're strictly cosmetics. All right? They're for you to look. They're aesthetic. That's all they are. They're there to please your eyeballs and give you some joy in knowing, hey, I have all these cool looking designs. That's great. I love that monetization strategy because nobody gets an advantage, but people still get, fulfillment in being able to have all these cool looking designs and characters. That's awesome. Non-Cat Fantasy. They have several cosmetics locked behind paywalls that give you stats because they go up to level 60, giving you tons of stats, which means you're going to be getting CP bonuses, which are going to be, very strong in competitive modes like PvP, World Boss, anything that has a leaderboard it's going to be very strong when you got a bunch of units with paywalled cosmetics that the casual spenders and whales are purchasing and free-to-plays have no way to access. Okay? So that is taboo number 2. That's 2 taboos in one gacha game. Insane, right? Insane. So I just want to kind of throw that out there as well. Grab our daily offer real quick. Woo! Big time. All right. Now, another thing that is a major problem is we don't get very many opals in this game, so it makes pulling for raid ups very, very difficult because you use a lot of your opals for resources more than you do actual summons, especially if you're a free-to-play or casual spender. So having access to a lot of opals, they definitely need to work on generating more opals, but this is more of a general critique, something that they can improve on, not really a red flag, right? It's just something that they could do a little bit better on. I just want to kind of quickly throw that in there because it is definitely an issue, but it's not as big of an issue as some of these other things that we've already discussed when it comes to the long-term success and, you know, popularity growth of Cat Fantasy. So there's all that. Now, there are various other things that we could sit there and nitpick and talk about, but, you know, over the course of time, some of those things don't become a problem anymore because you're going to start getting some resources and stockpiling some stuff here and there. And eventually, some of those issues will start to just kind of dwindle away over time as you play the game. Okay? But let's get to one of the big ones now, or I should say the big one right now. Banner spam. Absolute chaos right now. I play a game on the side channel, Excess Media. Definitely go check it out. We play Order and Chaos. That game is called Order and Chaos, but this game might be the true chaos because holy crap! If any of you remember ever playing Black Clover Phantom Knights global version, they were a year behind JP. And what did they think to do? What did they think to do? We covered that game here on this channel, by the way, a long time ago. They decided to drop about 11 banners in month 1 to catch global up to JP as quickly as possible, including spoiling a character that wasn't even in the anime yet, only in the manga. So anime onlys were spoiled on a character reveal that was put in the game because they were trying to speed up the game to catch up to the JP version. Absolutely just insane to me. Stupidity across the board in management. Well, Cat Fantasy isn't quite up to 11 banners in the first month, but they're definitely trying their best. So if we go in here right now, we have the newcomer exclusive newbie recruit Green Shiro. Now, she's not technically a raid up, but she still functions like one initially. And then you have a very strong, very powerful unit in Dorothy as our first true raid up. And then we just got the collab heroes, which are in their own banners instead of the same banner. And yeah, we now have 4 raid up banners basically in the first 2 weeks of global launch. 4. On top of all the units and all the general pulls and stuff like that, plus the paywalled units that are already available, the units you can get from Arena, like the Light Echo. You're also going to have Stacy coming here after day 35, which is just going to be just past the first month mark. There's going to be all these units that are going to be coming in different ways. Not all of them are going to be through raid up banners per se, but that's just a lot of different units dropping in the initial month or so of global launch. Some of these units that were not even supposed to be here for several months, because some of them kind of put the game on easy mode with the content we have currently, because they're built for more, you know, difficult content that comes down the road. So yeah, it's kind of a major issue. We have 4 raid ups right now. Where are free-to-plays and casuals getting the currency to even go in and pull all 4 of those units and try and get them at 0 star? And then if you get them at 0 star, what are you going to do with them? Nothing. So when you go into these banners, you have to look at their startup effects and see where do they need to be initially before they're even useful versus what you were already able to pull in the general pool with your purple summons. For example, I would not even touch Vanilla unless you could get her to 6 star. That's several hundreds of dollars, at least, if you get lucky to get her to 6 star. For that one hero, there's still other 3 raid ups to go. So even from a whale's perspective, you're still starting to get a bit overwhelmed, because unless you're going like full on, I'm going to buy some stocks in the game, I'm going to buy a percentage of royalties in this game, I'm going to just buy a house within this game and move into Cat Fantasy full time, how are you going to afford to keep up with this pacing of rate ups, even as a top tier whale. And then you work your way down the ladder. How does a casual have any hope in hell? And how does a free to play even think about it? It's not even thinkable. It's unthinkable. It's unreasonable across the board, even for your top spenders, all the way down to your free to plays. And again, your free to plays and your casuals make up a majority of the player base. So if you take them off, trying to cater to the 1%, I've always said this when I play games like this, and these things tend to happen. If you cater to the 1%, do not be surprised when 99% of your players stop playing your game. That's a quote that you can quote me on, because that's my quote, and I've been saying it for a lot of years, and it's always rung true, and it's always ended up just kind of showing itself over time when a lot of these games would start to just dwindle in revenue to the point where they just EOS, or they are still alive-ish with bare minimum amount of players, so it's kind of like a graveyard. And yes, a game can die before it goes EOS. If there's no content creators, if there's no player base, and there's no updates, the game is essentially dead, or undead, if you will, okay? It's a walking corpse. Anyway, so yeah, we have 4 right now. And then we go down here to the what's new, and we see here that we're going to be getting Scarlet, which will be another raid up here in a couple weeks, and we're going to be getting a new Battle Pass hero in Lynn. So that's just 2 more units to add to the stockpile of units we're already, getting in global in the first month. We're still all in the first month with all these units so far. And there's potential in the next 2 weeks they could even introduce some other units that they just, slide right into the general pool, which they've done countless times on the PTR version of the game. So there is way too much banner spam, hero spam, whatever you want to call it. There's just too much spam going on, and not a lot of people like spam, okay? Go look up how spam's made. You're probably not going to like it too much. Okay? So, this is not good. And then let's talk revenue for a minute. They made about $150,000, $200,000 in 11 or 12 days. So, give or take a little over a week, a little less than 2 weeks. They made about, 150, 200K. Let's just play games here. Let's play ball with them a little bit. Let's just say they maintained that same level of spending for the course of a month. So let's say they did that for 4 weeks. About 150K for 4 weeks. Okay? That's about $600,000 on global launch. And let's say there's maybe another 50K from PC, because I know a few players do play PC only, but not that many. A majority of the player base is definitely going to be on global. Okay, but let's just say another 50 to 100K. We'll yank them a little bit. Let's say they went up another 100K in total for PC. So they made about $700,000, which I don't think they made anything close to that in the first month, because that would mean that they're getting the same level of spending in the first week of global across the entire month, which that's just not going to happen. So we're yanking them quite a bit here, giving them 700K. Infinite Magic Raid was a game that we covered here on the channel quite a lot. It was very popular. It was really hyped up. It was supposed to be potentially the next Raid Shadow Legends. It started out around $2 million global month 1. $2 million. We're saying at Cat Fantasy starting somewhere around the 700K mark. Okay. Infinite Magic Raid had probably 5 to 6 times the player base. Several more opportunities for more whales. It had a lot more things going on. It didn't have all these particular red flags that Cat Fantasy has. And it had a style that was more fitting to the general populace of gacha players, opposed to Cat Fantasy, where it's definitely more of a niche player base, because, it's a bunch of cat characters, and it's very, very female heavy, because they took all the male characters out of global, which is another weird thing to do. I'm not sure why they did that, considering the main character of the story is a male. So how do we finish the story when you killed off all the males? Is the story over? I don't get it. Anyway. So, Infinite Magic Raid started about $2 million. About a few months in, they were already down 70% of revenue because they did not listen to their player base. They did not take feedback, criticism. I even made several videos talking about things that were crazy. And then they started making paywalled limited heroes that if you didn't get them now, you never got them, and they were behind paywalls completely. They did that with a guy named Santa Claus or Claus or whatever they named him. It was around Christmas time a couple years back. And that really was a turning point in killing the game slowly. And now they're down to making like no money at all, no player base. The game is essentially just done. It's cooked, okay? They already have a lot of those major issues and then some in the first month of global launch, and they're starting from way less revenue with a much smaller player base. Infinite Magic Raid literally lasted a few months before it took its just fell off a cliff hit in revenue and player base numbers. Like I said, in a few months' time, they lost 70% of their revenue. That is not a strategy for success. A game has to continuously make money and grow if it's going to succeed and stick around. That's why I love numbers. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your biases. They tell you the truth, the honest truth, what's actually happening in the state of the game, regardless if you think everything is fine, it's not fine. I know some people take that as doom posting or doom and gloom or blah, 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 but those are the numbers. And I'm yanking them up quite a bit as well to try and make it more positive in their favor than it really is. I'm trying to make the reality seem a little bit less miserable than it really is. So this company, Elex, Fundal, whoever is handling things right now between the publisher, the developers, if they're together, I'm not sure. They need to get a handle on things. They need to address these issues, and they need to fix these things as soon as possible. I do actually, I greatly enjoy Cat Fantasy. I will not play this game for over a year plus if I did not enjoy it. But management has to get things together. They have to get on board with the community. Our likes and their likes, our ideas and their ideas, we need to kind of find a compromise. A healthy compromise between the player and the developer and the publisher to make this game succeed and last long term. Right now, they might have a bunch of content worth making this game last for the next few months, even if they didn't make no money. But that was before they decided to start speed running through everything in the first month of global. So now I'm not even so sure how much content they even have on the back burner for global, because there was a year's worth of content in PTR, but they're speeding everything up for global way too fast, and it's going to start driving players out. Players are not going to want to jump into a game and see 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 20 banners, because they're going to think the game's been out for a year and it's only been out for a couple weeks, and they're going to be like, what? And they're going to be looking at their currency. How do I pull any of this stuff? It's getting overwhelming too fast. Everything is dropping too quickly. They have to slow it down. You can release content, things for us to do, but stop spamming the banners. It's too quick. You're freaking nerfing units that just came out by basically just saying, hey, look, Dorothy came out. You can make a cool red team in PvP. And then look, 2 weeks later, guys, here's Scarlet and Haley going to dominate the entire PvP meta with the blue team. Like, you just killed off a hero's meta before it even really got a chance to breathe. Most players don't even have Dorothy yet, let alone have her start up enough to start utilizing her in a competitive mode. And now you've already killed the meta before it even got going. You have a paywalled hero with Green Echo and a strong hero in the banners with Haley that have now just got power crept by a unit that's going to be dropping in 2 weeks. And by the way, that unit is better than everything in the collab right now. Both the collab units that people are trying to spend a ton of money for, they're already looking at the what's new and seeing a unit better than both of them coming in 2 weeks. And then when she drops, what are you gonna do? Have another unit in 2 weeks showing, hey, look, we're gonna power creep Perk 2, and then keep it going? Give us time to breathe. Release content. Add more quality of life. Start doing things that aren't even available in PTR yet. It's global, for Christ's sake. This is your baby. This is your golden ticket to make Cat Fantasy work. So make it work. You have all the power in the world to do so. You have all the resources. You clearly have a talented staff. Look at the artwork. Look at the animations. Look how fluid the game looks on both mobile and PC. You have a good staff. Put them to work. Put them to use and do the right things. Fix the game. Take these taboos out of the game. Start promoting the game. Start marketing the game, because you haven't done that either. Get this game where it needs to be. There's no reason that this game should not be successful. It has all the tools in the world. It has the foundation. Now build a house on top of it that can last. You have the staff to do so. Now you just need to put everything together, listen to your community, find a compromise between us and you, and do something positive. Take this video. Take any other video that may follow. about things like this. Some of our thoughts, our concerns, our opinions, our critiques, our feedback, anything. You could label it as negative or whatever, but take it, use it to make the game better. That's all I'm going to say here, and that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys and gals did enjoy. I tried my best to get my point across. If I did miss a lot of things that you guys may feel are a bit of an issue in the game as well, I'm sorry I couldn't go over all of it. It would have took all day, and it'd probably take several videos really to break everything down. But I wanted to kind of touch on some of the things personally that I've seen over the past year in Cat Fantasy that were definitely problematic. And then the banner spam on global obviously being a major issue. So that's going to be it for me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, take notifications, join us in the Discord in the description below as always. And of course, follow us on X at X's Media. And I'll catch you guys and gals on the next one. Until then, peace.